Hey everyone, welcome to Rehash the Rolls tonight. I am, as always, Nick Ortega, and tonight we'll be able to talk about the recent fun and crazy happenings on Ready to Roll. Before we get into that, we want to remind you that we do have our next episode of Heroic Tales on this Friday at 9, as always. 9 Eastern, 7 Mountain. And I guess I don't know if there's anything happening on Monday of next week.
There is not next week. Hopefully in a couple of weeks I have planned to do an episode of Different Strokes teaching how to make those tiefling horns that I wear during Ready to Roll. I've had a few people ask me how to make them, so I figure that might be a fun thing to do. Patrick is also going to run a one-shot in a few weeks. On the 13th of August, which is a Friday, he is going to be running a one-shot called Ragnarok Scenario. This is not a 5e one-shot, as far as I have been told. It is going to be... Why can it? Savage Worlds. It's going to be a Savage Worlds one-shot, so it's going to be a little bit different than what he usually runs on the channel. I do not know who the cast members are yet, except that Patrick will be running it, and it will be good. So that is Friday the 13th of August. Super dope.
All right. And then, of course, next week, Thursday, usual time, we'll be Ready to Roll.
I'm so excited. So excited.
Yeah. So with those announcements out of the way, let's have a look at some questions that we've gotten for Lydia and Ian. So first up, let's just talk about some upcoming. Are you guys excited, for both of you? Excited or nervous for the upcoming wedding? Or do you have any similar feelings regarding the play?
I was going to say, we didn't do the play yet. That's what I'm worried about. I'm pretty sure. I mean, here's the thing. Piotr made like 7 blunders in one session. And I know it's going to end up killing him or something. So I'm just like, every time, especially where Patrick decided to end on us being on our way to the play, I think. Or anyway, that's like the next thing.
Right.
Something's gonna go down.
Yeah, that's the thing of just like, you never know what is added into the campaign as just like fun story elements and world details and things like that, and what stuff is going to be like murderous intentions later. Like, there were so many of us freaking out about like the cinnamon tea that Corbett's dad gave to Galena, and we're like, oh my gosh, this is poison, this is gonna kill her, this is gonna be so bad. And then it's like, seems fine. So it's like, is this going to be just like Patrick wrote a play and he wants us to experience it? Or are we gonna get like red weddinged and like locked into this theater and they're gonna burn it to the ground and we're all gonna die? Like, I don't know. It's really stressful. I don't know.
I suppose could the wedding itself be similarly red wedding?
Maybe.
I don't get this reference to red weddings.
So it's a Game of Thrones thing, which, like, funny enough, I've never watched a Game of Thrones episode, but from what I understand, the red wedding was like the union of a couple of houses, and during the wedding they like locked the doors and they killed everybody.
Oh,
so
shoot.
It was like everyone had like let their guard down to like be part of this celebration or whatever, and then one of the families just like murdered everybody. So yeah. Hopefully the play is not a red wedding situation.
And the wedding.
Hopefully, yeah. I would assume not. The wedding more than the theater. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe this Ashton Hunter dude will show up at the theater. The wedding is just gonna be like terrifying no matter what. Like too many important people in one place.
Yeah. Well, cool. Let's move on to Ian then.
Oh,
And you kind of you know it. The realm of nobles and politics is what Pyotr's trained to deal with. But how is he handling the major slip-ups during dinner?
we'll see. He's worried, I guess. More, it's hard to say because obviously it was in character, but that was very much an Ian goof up. We're just gonna have to work it into Piotr. Obviously he's like, what did I just do? If I were to inject some sort of like in-game rationale to this, I would say, this whole having to like hide who he is from people thing is pretty new for Piotr. Like he only just found out that he's being hunted. And so he forgets stuff, I guess, as we saw. And but yeah, given the dire nature of the situation, he's definitely worried.
I suppose, are there any specific, like, that they're coming looking for you? Do you think that it's just information will get out, or are you specifically worried about the people around whom you messed up?
Well, it's like the death thing is probably the biggest thing. Or that, I guess that's kind of what's going through Piotr's mind, is that he's going to be found and killed, or arrested, then tried, then killed, or whatever the case may be. Death is at the forefront of his mind currently.
Right. I guess what I mean is the people coming to kill you. They can find information, but are you worried that they're going to find out that you're there just because, news spreads? Or
Yeah,
do you think that the people you slipped up around in particular are likely to want that news to spread, want those people to be able to find you?
For the most part, just like the general nature of a slip up when you're trying to make sure that, because in this case, he doesn't know who to trust or who he can't trust definitively, and so everybody is kind of a wild card. Obviously the people he's been traveling with, he trusts. But other than that, outside of that circle, he's not really sure who he can trust. And so everyone else is essentially immediately suspect, if that makes sense.
Right, yeah.
Particularly where, he is a wanted criminal, he's brushing shoulders with agents of the state.
From my perspective, like, the person who's sending people after you is the Boyar of Vinhelm, right?
Yeah.
Corvid's dad probably knows this person personally, has met them and talked to them, and would probably love to get on their good side. And maybe it would be a really good way to get on their good side by giving him the dude who, you know, murdered his future daughter-in-law, you know? From what I understand of the situation.
I suppose, you know, if I'm sizing up the situation correctly, there's every possibility that it's not just the families involved that would be showing up to an imperial wedding.
Your old boss is gonna show up this wedding.
Hey, you haven't. You were supposed to be at work like.
You never clocked out.
40 days. 40 days ago. Yep.
Oh
Sorry about that.
Never gave us your 2 weeks.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a very... I suppose I could have read exactly this question as a follow-up. Does Pyotr trust Corvid's dad, the boyar?
No, not yet. No.
Yeah. Well then, let's move over to a question for Lydia.
Okay.
So, how does Jelania think her relationship with Antovin is affecting her friendships with the others in the party?
Well, so no one has, like, aside from Galena, almost no one has, like, actually addressed the fact that there's anything happening, which is very odd to her. Like, Pyotr was in the same space as Galena when she was asking about this stuff, and there was a lot of, like, talking around it, but, like, no one has come to her to be like, hey, so what's going on there? Like, nobody has come and asked. So because no one has done that, it's, like, kind of caused her to lean into him even more. Just like, well, if people don't want to talk to me about this, maybe they're mad at me, maybe they really don't care about what's going on. I don't know how to really talk about feelings. This is hard for me, so it's a little bit hard for me to reach out and be the one to initiate those things. And she is learning how to talk feelings with Antovin, so it causes her to, like, just, like, he's the person that I talk to about difficult things. So it is kind of, in a way, isolating her, the fact that they haven't brought it up at all. She was, like, honestly, when she went over to get the journal from Pyotr, she was going to talk to him about it and be like, I'm so in over my head, I have no idea what I'm doing. Can you help me and tell me what I'm supposed to be doing in this situation? And then, of course, the journal was stolen and it ruined all of that.
And that's what we did.
And now Pyotr has Galena with him all the time, and Jelania does not know Galena very well and doesn't really want to, like, dump her stuff with this stranger in the room. So, she doesn't want to talk to Corvid about this stuff either, because of her past and possible present feelings to him. Just like, you know, like, you don't want to talk to your ex about your current boyfriend, you know? So she's like, I have nobody to talk to about any of this except him. So, yeah, it's a weird situation, for sure.
Yeah, you think that... I guess, how much do you think, for the other characters, the fact that you aren't bringing it up is causing them not to?
I have no idea, honestly. Like, it probably would have been a good idea, like, that first day to just be like, hey, you guys, so this is Antovin. But, like, they'd kind of met him already. And at that point, they weren't, like, being incredibly open about the fact that they were in a relationship. So, like, when that kind of happened, it was just like, all right, is there a reaction? No. So, I do think that if it continues on in the way that it is, she will eventually like break and be like, I just need to talk to somebody about this, because she has, like, she needs to.
Yeah.
I just don't know who it'll be.
Yeah, kind of. I was gonna ask.
Yeah, no idea yet.
All right. Well then, let's go to a question again for both of you, and very much changing topics. So it isn't party-wide knowledge yet, but there is some information coming to light that possibly the Dark Priestess is not the party's enemy. Does or will your character believe that?
What do you think, Ian?
We will see. Good question, though. Good question. That was like the first time I had like, because basically I need to extract metabrain from the situation, which I just realized. So I will withhold for now. We will see.
Okay. So, I mean, I feel like in general, Jelania will continue to do what she has done, of just being really upset at people who are messing with her life. It was the Dark Priestess who yoinked them in the first place, so it doesn't really necessarily matter to her why, like whether or not she is like, oh, I need you to do this good thing for me, or like, hey, I'm your friend, or oh, I was gonna sacrifice you and eat you. It kind of doesn't really matter, because it's like, how dare you do this to me? So I mean, it really will depend on like what the real situation is and like kind of the vibes of it and everything, but like at best it'll be kind of like with Maeve, I imagine, where it's just kind of like, I don't like you, but I'm not gonna do anything about it right now.
Right. I am into it personally. I'm like, yeah, Dark Priestess is full good, full stop.
Full good?
Full good.
Just a good person.
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know about that. I feel like, how can you be good if you're like really into, you know, Morpheus?
That's part of the twist. Morpheus is good
Morpheus
too.
is good. I don't know. That seems like a lot.
Morpheus is just Thanos.
Just Thanos.
I mean, like, why is everything all like locked down? Your Shalania's problems with the afterlife and everything. Who set that up? Not Morpheus.
Deep thoughts.
So, speaking of that, we did get this question. I personally disagree with the question itself, but I'll let Lydia respond to it.
Oh dear. Okay.
So, the question reads, we've seen Jelania take issue several times with the fact her life is being controlled by powerful beings. But last session, she complained to Yarick that the party wasn't being controlled enough. And does she recognize this contradiction?
Jeez. So it's like, I mean, I don't know, because it is like I do see the contradiction, right? Of just like she wants people to completely leave her the heck alone, but right now she's like, give me something, tell me what I'm supposed to do. But it's like the expectation of doing something has never been removed. Like, you've given me this homework assignment, and you've told me if I don't do it, I'm going to fully fail out of high school, and they will burn down the school with me. But I don't know what the subject is, and I don't know what the questions are. And then, like, occasionally once a week, you'll, like, give me 3 words from one of the problems. So I don't think she necessarily sees it as a contradiction at all. And I think she's just really annoyed by all of it.
I mean, it's not like you were saying control us. You were saying give me information.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You were.
Well, it was kind of in like this, like, tell us what we're supposed to do. Tell us what we're like. If you want us to save the world and, you know, take down this cult or whatever, tell us what to do. Obviously, what we're doing is not working. Tell us what we're supposed to do.
Because at this point, I mean, the control aspect has already been removed from all of our lives, essentially.
How do you mean?
Like, we just kind of going off the idea espoused in the question, like, we are already, if we want to frame it pejoratively, we're already being controlled, right? We're already being used as pawns, or whatever you want to say it, on that scale of, I guess, interpretation, or at that end of the interpretive scale, or whatever. So receiving more clear direction, I don't think is more control. I think that's just more effective control, if anything.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And like letting you get to the end sooner, get out from under their thumb sooner.
Right. Because, like, if you, to use what's probably going to be an imprecise analogy, if you get behind the wheel of a car, or let's say you're drunk, and you put your foot on the gas pedal, it's going to go forward. If you turn it, it's going to go one way or the other. What the difference is the clear input from the driver, or how, like, the clarity of that input. And so either way, the driver is still in control of the car. It's just how effective is that control. I don't know if that was a good analogy, but that's what came to my mind.
You use a lot of big words.
It's because I like it. I'm not as smart as everyone else, but if I use big words, everyone thinks I am, so.
I think you're plenty smart.
Yeah. The gods are already driving you, the car. They're just driving you off a cliff. And
Exactly.
Why?
You, and it's like, if they don't give, it's like, let's say you, maybe to use another car-like analogy, let's say you back your car out of the driveway, you put it in neutral and start, you're like, I want to get to the bottom of this hill, put it in neutral, and you just start going. Like, that's great, you'll probably get to the hill, but if you keep the engine on, and with the power steering and everything, you could probably control it in more of a precise manner to control when you get to the end of the hill, how fast you're going on your way there, make sure you don't run into kids or whatever, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Poor children.
I know, I was gonna say, please don't run over any children in your car.
Which children have we ran over, metaphorically?
Well, there was like the witch in Airmog who appeared to be like a child.
There we go.
Oh. All right. Well, for Ian, we got a couple Galena related questions.
My favorite.
So, firstly, Piotr knows that the headaches can be caused by Galena's absence, but has he already figured out that he can resist that happening, or is it just like, does he feel like it's a random occurrence?
No, he has not figured that out.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, he's kind of like bracing for a migraine that never comes, and he's like, oh, okay, cool.
Gotcha,
And I've kind of made jokes about that in game, like, well, since I'll be okay for the next 24 hours. He doesn't know any of that.
Right. Well, then probably the rest of the question is not able to be answered. It's let's say if Piotr starts realizing that he can resist that, would he plan on that more, or would he would he try to still stay next to Galena as much as possible, or would he like purposely say, no, I'm not playing your game, Maeve?
Yeah, he doesn't trust Maeve, trusts her less now. Yeah, I mean, at this point, like, this whole arrangement is awkward for Piotr. So the minute he's like, oh, I can affect the outcome of this thing, and I can work on like a system to beat the system, so to speak, he will, that's definitely something he would take advantage of. But time will tell if he figures that out, what he decides to do with that information at that time.
Yeah, it can be a bit hard to manipulate a phase deal in quite the same way that they are able to. Have to kind of out Maeve at her own game.
Yeah,
She
they'll
has
get like a
centuries of
scrying pull or
practice.
something.
So, given that you are definitely for the time being trying to be around Galena as much as possible, are you now Galena's sugar daddy?
Oh my gosh. No, so that gesture was both because, wow, Piotr is like the most confusing individual I've ever had the pleasure of being inside of, inside the brain of.
Uh-huh. Keep going. Dig yourself out of this hole somehow.
Just that he essentially, like, what was going through his mind was, okay, well, I mean, she's a member of this team now, things that can help her help us, and also I've been kind of a douche, so and I never use my money, so here.
Yeah. Do you see that happening again?
Not specifically. We'll see.
I don't know. Wizards are a little bit cash heavy. Like, compared to other races, wizards are very cash heavy because they need all the scrolls, they need the paper, they need all that other stuff. Like, a lot of
the
the casters
noble
are...
race of wizards.
Very expensive kids. Expensive babies.
Well then, let's one more Galena related question. What about your nice adventures with Corbett. Now that you can't really leave Galena, do you foresee those still happening, or are they part of a bygone era now that you're tied to her?
Wait, am I missing something? Wait, what?
Like, you went on that
adventures are we
hike
referring-
with him.
I think I have amnesia. What?
It was like when we were running away from the Norseans after we saved Drift's
Oh.
dad.
Yeah, like,
And then
I mean, that was really like forced by circumstance. So we'll see. I don't
But
know.
like, is that a thing now? Like him realizing like he's losing a lot of his privacy now and his access to his other
Oh.
party members a little bit. Like your one-on-one
I
time
see.
with anyone else is like gone.
I see. Was that more the question then?
I don't know. It wasn't my
Uh,
question.
wasn't the wording of it, but
Oh,
I like it.
this is fine. This is fine either way. I was just making sure that I answered that question correctly before I move on to bit. Either way, yeah. No, yeah, it's definitely something that's like, because there have been a few times where he's been like wanting to like get on certain conversations or like talk to Anya. I almost said Lydia. And yeah, that's something logistically is more difficult for him now. But yeah, so it's definitely taking its toll on him. Toll. I'm from Ohio. I can't pronounce O-L-E and O-L-L words. Anyway, it's having an effect on him.
Yeah.
Do you think that
it's-
he would be willing to like at some point just like say screw it, I'm gonna have a headache, I need to do stuff on my own?
I mean, definitely in certain specific situations, sure. Like, I think Piotr understands that, like, he needs to be ready basically at a moment's notice, because sometimes their lives seem to be calming down to where, you know, they'll go a week or two without having to, like, kill people. And then all of a sudden, there's a kraken or whatever. We didn't fight
Mimic
a
ship.
kraken. Yeah, that was a mimic ship. I kept joking about a kraken, and now it's stuck in my head. Yeah, so he's kind of conscious of the negative effect that it could have on him if he's called upon to help defend the party from whatever. And so that's kind of what's going through his mind currently. But yeah, certainly there would be certain situations where he would say, yeah, like, this needs to happen and it can't happen with Galena or whatever. So tentative yes.
Yeah. I mean, you did already willingly sort of let Galena go talk with the Boyar on her own, right?
Yeah.
So, been through the pain a few times. You can handle it. Speaking about the Boyar, let's go back to we got a few questions about the Boyar / Corbett's family. For both of you, the question reads, what are your thoughts on Corbett's family, and why do you not trust them?
Corbett's. That sounds like something your
Mostly
siblings would
because-
say.
Sorry, go ahead, Lydia.
No, I was just gonna say Corbutt sounds like something his little siblings would say when they're just like trying to be annoying. So you go ahead.
Corbutt forgot to
Corbutt.
wipe his poor butt.
This is why you're the bard. This is why you're the bard.
Except he's never come out in game. It's just the most random times that I'm able to do anything
Oh my
clever.
God.
Anyway, sorry, what was the question? I distracted myself.
It is, what are your thoughts on his family, and why are they you don't trust him or them?
They are, I don't trust them because, well, they are, Piotr doesn't trust them because he kind of feels the energy coming from Corbett, and he's like, this is your family. Also, and I don't know if that's just like something filtering through my brain to Piotr's brain due to just like the way Patrick presents certain NPCs, but I never trust new NPCs from Patrick. So therefore Piotr doesn't. And also they're just, I guess the tone of this campaign is kind of like, who can we trust, who can we not trust? Or at least we forced that theme. I don't feel like it's been validated a whole ton. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but that's just kind of Piotr's MO at this point. He verifies, then trusts. Unless he's just blurting out his name when he shouldn't be, in which case he's gonna die.
Yeah, though in this particular case, like, you meet people you don't know, and you kind of don't trust them. Like, okay, but you also don't necessarily assume that they are about to, like, attempt to ruin your life.
Yeah.
Now you know a thing or two at least about Corbett's family, and now meeting them with that prior knowledge, is it still just the same kind of, oh, I don't trust them because I don't know them? Or is it, I don't trust them because of what I know about them?
Yeah, it's kind of that. And I don't think we know anything super, like, scandalous about them. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, it's definitely the things they know about the family are kind of, definitely kind of inform that attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So for me, like, a little bit of it is like, I'm attempting to not be super meta about my mega distrust of the dad, Conrad, because, like, a lot of the things that were red flags to me are conversations that were one-on-one with somebody and Corvette. Like, there was a lot of talk that Corvette had with, like, the captain, Lydia, that I was just like, why does he know that about us? How does he know that about such and such person? It seems weird that he is aware of this thing about this person. And, like, obviously he works for Conrad, and, like, he might know a lot of things from him, or, like, at the very least he might be reporting them over to him. So, like, the information that he's gathering might be going over to him. And then, like, the conversation that Corvette had with his dad of just, like, you know, telling him the stuff that he had learned about us a little bit was just like, he knows a lot of stuff about us, and that's really creepy to me. And, like, I'm trying very hard to not let that bleed over into Anya, because, like, she wasn't part of those conversations. She's not aware of just how much this dude knows about us, you know? But for her, at the very least, she's got her walls up, like, so high right now because of Antivan, of just, like, nobody can know. Like, I need to keep my face perfectly composed and, like, never look over at him, like, but also, like, maybe not try and avoid it too much because, like, people will think that's weird, and, like, you know, so she's just, like, on high alert with everybody about that. And then there's also, like, who knows who's in the Profane Guard, like, who knows whether or not people are good or bad. So just, like, everybody could be an enemy for multiple reasons. So that, like, but she doesn't necessarily have the evidence that I, Lydia, have that Conrad is so sus, it's not even funny. But it's also hilarious.
No, with that, you know, you were talking about the captain and what the captain knew, but Jelania has also been told now by Yarick that Captain is important and
Yeah.
has information for the party. So does that change that perspective? Like, does he know things because of Conrad, or does he know things because he, the captain himself, is important.
So the assumption that she is working off of now is like the captain is involved with the Dark Priestess or the Profane Guard or something, and that very likely he wormed his way in with the Boyar so that he could come and be the one to find us. Not necessarily that it came from the Boyar to him in that way. Or Yarrick probably would have said, like, the Boyar knows stuff. Go talk to the Boyar.
Though the captain's been working with Conrad for ages.
Right, which is true. But, like, the fact that Yarrick was like, the captain knows stuff and not the Boyar knows stuff is a little bit telling to her. It's like, okay. Or at the very least, he is a little bit more approachable on this or something. Like, he's not fully under the Boyar's thumb when it comes to this stuff or something. So she doesn't like the captain anyway. It's very possible that right at the start of the next game, she's gonna go try and find him somewhere. Because I feel like I remember Yarrick saying, like, wait for him to do the stuff that he's supposed to do. But she's not really into that. She's just gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna go find this idiot. Like, I'm not gonna wait around for him to blow up a hospital or something, you know? I'm gonna wait for him to do something bad.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. There are just too many people, and yet all of them are too important.
Yeah. It really weirds Jelania out when anybody knows anything about her. Because, like, she's been dead to everyone for the last 3 years and has only re-emerged into known society in the last, like, month and a half. So if anybody knows anything about her, she immediately is just like, why do you know this? Why have you been finding stuff out about me? Because I'm assuming, and she's assuming, that Vitaly is not, like, proclaiming through the whole kingdom, like, my sister is back from the dead because she fought against some cultist who tried to kill her. You know, like, I assume he's not doing that. So when people are like, oh yeah, hey, you're here, I was expecting that, she's just like, all right, this is really, really sketchy. I'm not into this. So. Yeah.
All right. And now not exactly about the family, but related for Ian. After the dinner with Corbett's family, Patrick had you roll a wisdom saving throw. Now,
yes, he did.
You rolled a 21, according to the question. Do you have any theories on what that saving throw was for? And do you fear it could be a recurring issue?
I can tell you what came to mind. I don't know how on point the suspicion is, but this is literally just verbatim the first thing that came to my mind as I remember. And that was that somebody was it's actually well, I don't know, in this universe, who knows, was that somebody was trying to read Piotr's mind. That's Ian, not Piotr. But that's, I have ADHD. Things just, like, the wildest stuff presents itself to my brain at the most random times. So that could be very spot on, or it could be very not.
That's scary.
Well, you saying that now makes me very much think that you're very close, honestly. Just a little bit different. Scrying.
Yeah. Would you roll a wisdom saving throw for to resist scrying?
But you rolled really well, so, like, maybe you're fine.
Well,
for now.
Maybe they just...
My personal guess, the way this question was phrased feels like a DM trying to find out stuff about what their players are thinking.
No, I'll be
I
upfront.
just-
This was my question.
Oh.
It was not for Patrick, it was for me.
Well, then
Let's not
never
throw
mind.
Patrick under the bus on this. I was listening to it back and I was just like, what the heck was this about?
Yep, that was the first thing that came to my mind. It was like, what's going on? I know what's
Yeah.
going on, except I probably don't, but maybe I do.
Yeah. And yeah, I definitely wasn't thinking about it at the time or even reading back the question, but as you like we're talking about mind reading, I'm like, scrying, people are trying to find you. It could even, I don't know exactly what all the different spells out there are, but and exactly how they would work. I feel like locate creature does not work that way, but there might be some similar, more far away magic that falls under the realm of divination, trying to find your location, that would then still be kind of similar to scry, requiring a wisdom save to prevent it. That's my theory.
Patrick, tell
It's
us
the
the answer.
assassins. They're gonna kill you.
No, it's definitely someone bad trying to get you.
Because to me, it was like, we've already been talking about how Piotr's freaking out about the name drop, and so that was kind of in my mind, like in the back of my mind. And I swear there was something. Maybe it was just because it was constantly in the back of my mind that I'm thinking this way. But I swear there was something that had to do with that right before he had me make that skill check.
Mhm.
Yeah. Gotta go listen to it back and see what it is.
All right. We're down to the last couple questions, and these both are related. First for Ian. Does Piotr feel guilty about Svetla's journal?
Yeah, definitely. Because, like, well, I mean, he definitely feels guilty. He's not sure whether he misplaced it or whether it was lifted. Patrick said, you, I'm assuming me. Oh, this was like 10 minutes ago. But he said that you, again, assuming me, don't trust anyone, even in real life. Which is true. Yeah, see? Anyway, sorry. Yeah, but in short, yeah, he definitely feels guilty. Even if it was, someone kicked his door in or picked his lock or whatever the case may be, and stole it, it was still entrusted into his care, and therefore he had a responsibility to safeguard it, which he has on some level not done.
I guess, how much was Piotr regarding this item as, like, important to guard? Like, people could be coming for it or anything, like the information in it can't be let go of, or is it more just it was entrusted to him, he feels bad because anything?
Yeah. I mean, how to parse this? So, I mean, number one, it was entrusted to him. It's important to Anya. It's like basically what remains of a dead relative for her, in a lot of senses. And on top of that, yeah, there is the fact that there is potentially information in there that could be bad in the wrong hands. But I would say by far and away the biggest issue for Piotr is just kind of that responsibility that he feels to Anya to safeguard.
Yeah. Maybe if he had thought more about, like, the danger part of it, he wouldn't have let it out of his sight. Of course, he's got experience with not letting things out of his sight now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need another Fae deal with this book now that I've found it again.
My question for you is, what do you know how much of the book Piotr got through and how much he can really report on and give an accurate retelling of?
I think in game
No.
it was said that he got through about half of it.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And unfortunately, it was the first half, so the stuff that is older and probably more outdated. I was really hoping, honestly, because you read it so many times and like Patrick would like send you excerpts and like files and things. I was like, I really hope that like she can spend a good amount of time just like reading it. Because like if she got it, she wouldn't like spend a whole bunch of time like parsing through whatever. She would just like sit and read the thing like through the whole night and not sleep. And I was really hoping that I would get these things too, and that did not happen. And so like I'm like freaking out. I'm like, I want to know what was in the book, and like you, Ian, know. Like no one else knows.
And it was I was totally blindsided. I was like, dang it, Patrick.
I want to know what was in the book. Send
Yeah,
it
it
to
almost
me.
feels kind of feels a little, you know, with the number of times that you've gone and spent reading it, but Patrick kind of gets to choose when you stopped getting information out of it.
Yeah. I think the way we've been parsing that is basically, unless I say that, like specifically, that Piotr was going to be reading, that he didn't.
Yeah,
I think.
but you still did say it.
A few times, yeah.
Yeah, a fair few times.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like if so the way that it ended up coming out in game when Anya got it back, those last few pages that were in there when Patrick sent them to me, like if I had chosen to read those out loud in game, what would have likely happened after is she would have probably gone to find Piotr in that moment to be extremely upset. But because like I didn't have like the wherewithal to read it on camera, we moved like to break right after that or something like that because I was like busy reading it, and we moved on. But so I wonder like if we return to that sort of conversation of just like, she hasn't told anyone except for Antiman that the book is returned and destroyed. So like I honestly haven't thought too much about like when or how or even if she will tell Piotr that, you know, it's the book is destroyed, and like how, because she's really trying not to hate people, and she has a lot of faith in Piotr and trust in him, and like she's really trying to rely on him. And so it might be that she can overlook this, but like also like let's be real, she's she's not the nicest. So I'm not sure exactly how it'll work out when we address it.
Yeah. And speaking of those last pages, the last question is, will we ever get to hear what was on those last few pages?
I don't know. Because, like, to some degree, the moment's passed. And they are incredibly, like, personal and direct. So it's not like, oh, this is my, you know, my social security number. This is the map of where you need to go. This is the password to get in or whatever. It's very personal and does not necessarily have a ton of meaning to everyone else. There are a couple things in there that are more wide-reaching a little bit, but those things seem like they are being shared and brought around by other means as well. So I don't know honestly whether it will come out in game of her reading it to people. I assume that I will, you know, if we do any sort of campaign wrap up, it'll be something that like I'll read or something. But yeah, I just didn't feel like crying right then, and I would have. So.
Well, one thing that is certain, Patrick will make you cry. So, well.
He's just gonna make everything uncomfortable for all of us all the time. I'm so terrified for the next like everything. Because now there's other people all the time, everywhere. Freaking. Or if it's little brother, I feel like he could very easily become a problem. Like he could be nothing, like he could be totally fine, or he could be a real problem. And I am terrified to know what it's gonna be.
Yeah. Well, thanks for all of the answers and conversation. It's been a fun time. That is, the end of our questions and just the end of our time tonight. So thanks everyone for coming. Thanks for watching, hanging with us. See you all here again on Friday, where we get to face those odds at Rosewood Hall. So please come join us for that. It's been a really fun story for us. And again, thanks for being here tonight. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.